Hey there. Welcome to another episode of Heart and Hustle, Visionary Healers, Movers, and Shakers. I am your host, Paulette Rees-Denis, here to bring you magic makers from around the globe, people who are creating change, who have small businesses, large businesses, hobbies, but they are creating the life of their dreams. And that, my friends, is what living is all about. So let us know how you like this episode. Please subscribe, and we'll see you there. Thanks for joining. Hello, my friends. Welcome to another episode of Heart and Hustle, Visionary Healers, Movers, and Shakers. I am Paulette Rees-Denis, your hostess, your movement motivator, and your passion instigator. And I am here to bring you stories and people who are making magic, who are making change in the world, and giving you their inspiring stories, and with the hopes of inspiring you to live bigger and better and fuller and take action and make your own magic too. Lots of creative passion. So welcome to another episode. And today I have a guest. Tina Ginn is here with us from Vancouver, Canada. Tina, welcome.
Oh, thank you, Paulette. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, I'm so glad to have you here. This is great. This is great. So, Tina, you have something called your backup plan. So,
That's for sure. Something needed right now during COVID, that's for sure.
yeah. So give us the juice on that. What's going on with that?
Well, it brought me to create something for people that I just felt so dear to my heart to get out there and help people. And I like to look at it as healing, part of it for healing for people. Because when things aren't so in the time of a sickness, when you hear the C word, when you go to the doctor, or you've had a heart attack, or you've had a stroke, or someone of your loved ones are passing, there's nothing better to only be present in the moment, to
Mm,
be there, to be able to be there for the person, to be able to be present. And what I mean by that is not have all of that other stuff in your mind. I don't know if any listeners out there have had someone pass away or that's gotten very sick that you've had to, hold their hand in the hospital, which is really difficult right now for COVID. But there's nothing worse than being there for the person, but not being there. Does that make any sense?
absolutely.
Because if you're worried about, where their bank accounts are, or have they paid the bills, or where their paperwork is, or do they have a will, or where their key is for the garage or the house, or where their shut-off valves are, or what kind of food does their cat eat, or like so many things. And it's that takes us away from being able to be present with the person, hold their hand, show the love, and be able to really heal them, because
hmm
it's been shown in research that if you are present and you're able to be there with the person and hold their hand or hug them or comfort them or help them during recovery, that they actually recover faster than if they're left alone.
Oh, I can
And that's,
imagine that.
yeah. And it was even shown with two twins that were born, and one was a lot smaller than the other. It's on YouTube. And the one twin that was strong was in a separate incubator than the other one. And the nurse was really worried because the smaller one wasn't doing so well. So they put them together and miracles happened. They hugged each other, they held each other just automatically.
hmm
So it shows you from that point, it doesn't matter how we can be there. It's just, do you have all of your crap together? You know, that's what it is. It's everything that's in your own head that you haven't shared with anyone, that, you might have multiple bank accounts, you might have different investment accounts. And hey, everybody, that's one of the biggest things that is growing in all of United States and UK and Canada. For any listeners out there, unclaimed money is
Ah,
one of the biggest growths of in our industry right now.
wow. Wow, that's trippy. Yeah.
And that's because we don't know where all your bank accounts are, or we don't know where your investments are, or you might have a cabin that you have no paperwork until people, spend weeks upon weeks in your paperwork to find that, hey, Aunt Sally actually had a cabin and we didn't even know it.
Right. Wow, that's such a great thing to think about. I mean, I think about a will, and I don't have one. It's just me and my husband, so I don't have kids or anything. And we talk about it. It's like, well, we should really write something up. Of course, if I go, he can have everything of mine. If he goes, I can have everything of his. If we both go, then what?
Right.
But yeah, there are little things hidden away, or that old, account over there that you forgot about, and what does someone else do with that?
Right.
Because then people are left with a mess, which is
And
also not fun.
a mess is not fun because I have clients that it's 6, 8, 10 years later and they're still trying to get through the mess.
Ugh.
It's confusion. And you wonder, why do we have to do it that way? Because we don't want to, you know, figure out what we want to do when that time comes.
Right.
Because we're Superman.
Oh yeah, we're really never gonna go. So I mean, I think that's intriguing, and uh, I'm not the most organized person. Now, some people are uber organized and probably have stuff like that, and you must be one of those people. um, but so, how did this come about for you to start implementing this idea to help others with this?
I really think the universe had me programmed. I honestly believe that because ever since I came out of school, I started as a legal secretary. I went into real estate. I was a realtor selling homes. I then got married and had kids. So I tried to find jobs that were I was able to be flexible and work around the girls'
Mm-hmm.
time frames. And so I took a Microsoft Certified Systems Engineer course, which I was then able to work part-time at the college and teach computer courses. And then I evolved to going into insurance. I'm a financial advisor by trade, a professional financial expert. So I'm able to look at people's examples of life insurance, disability, long-term care, their group benefits from work, the extended medical benefits, travel insurance, all of that kind of stuff brought me to seeing people and how unorganized they are.
Yeah, all right then.
I would go to clients' houses and they'd say, I always wondered, like, why do you actually have me come? You have like 15 different policies and you don't even know what you have.
Mm.
And you're paying for them. And then when something does happen, you're like, what do I do? What do I have? You have no clue. So I always like scooped them all up and summarized it for them and helped them understand, is there something different from what you actually have, what it looks like, to what it is you want?
Hmm.
Because there's a big difference of what you're sold and what it is that you want. And so I created your backup plan app, which was originally a binder with a workbook, believe it or not. So in that system, it was a lot of people liked it because it's like reading a book versus a Kindle. You actually touch paper and you write. Um, and it is in a digital form now for people. But in the app, it's all just takes it all, whatever you put into it, and puts it all in one place. You create a guest user that then is able to access your app. So in your case, you could have your spouse as the guest user, and then you could also include someone else that you would want just in case both of you were in an accident together. Or in COVID, it's happened numerous times where both people are in the hospital with COVID.
Right.
And so it brings me to the point where even if you don't pass away, what happens if both of you end up in the hospital in ICU in together? What happens to your home?
Yeah.
What happens to your payments? Who's paying your bills? Who knows where your accounts are, just to make sure that the little, they don't need to pay everything, but someone needs to know how to get to your home and how to pay the bills in case of a car accident, in case of a tragedy.
Right. Or even if it's just a solo person who's not married, who doesn't have a
Right.
partner.
Right. And I've had that case with a client, an Italian family with 8 brothers and sisters, and one of the boys was single and was in a coma.
Mm.
And so all the families fighting, well, who's going to go do what? How do you get into his condo? How do you find out where his accounts are? How do I pay his mortgage?
So how do they then, if you have this system?
Through the guest user has
Got
access
it.
to what you've
Got it.
actually put in there. So you don't need to put in there, well, I just bought a dress and I owe that, you don't have to do that. You just need to put in where your mortgage payment is in case somebody needs to pay it, or your rent, or your bills that, you might have 2 credit cards, just pay $100 off each credit card. Whatever the minimum payment can do just to keep things regulated, or the gas, or the electricity, or whatever that looks like, so that when you do recover, you can actually come home to your same house.
Yeah. So did you, again, you have all this training and stuff behind you, but did you have something that caused you to go toward this?
Well, it's funny because I started it and I had to take a little bit of a break. It was like maternity leave, but it wasn't maternity leave. But I actually had a very tragic car accident. I'm very blessed to still be here. 92, 92 kilometers an hour. I'm not sure what that is in miles per hour. I think that must be around 80 miles per hour.
I don't know.
I'm not sure. Anyways, it's fast. I was hit head on, and I'm very lucky to be here. The first thing I did was, I'm still here in one part. That's all that matters. And I suffered and went into recovery. I was working at the bank, actually, and they let me go, which is unheard of, actually, because they're not allowed to hire someone else to replace you when you are coming back from disability. But a long story short, I then, after 30 years of marriage, decided that it was time to separate. I wasn't getting the support that I felt that I needed. I wasn't getting the, partnerships are really something, because when you're husband and wife, or two, it doesn't really matter what gender you are. When you're partners, when something tragic occurs, it's very, very difficult to tell you what that other partner is actually going to do. When the person gets cancer, or when the person has a stroke, or when there's a bad car accident, or whatever that looks like, that other partner, either they get closer to you and become more supportive than ever before, or they get drawn away. They don't know what to do. They don't know, they might run. Some of them actually just, run the other direction. And I think all listeners will probably understand that a lot, because I've seen it many, many times. Mine was more drawn away. The girls had all gone from home about 4 years prior. And I just said that I deserve more than this in life. And so I left. And it took me a little while because my daughters were in their 20s and they decided not to talk to me anymore. So I then had that was probably the worst part of healing and grieving of all of those things was trying to come to terms with that and move on to what was meant for me, what was the universe planning for me. And so I dug deep, and one morning the universe said to me, and it was a man's voice, which is very strange because maybe it was an ancestor or something, I really don't know, but he said, Tina, it's time to get your groove on. You need to get out there. You need to get marketing your app. You need to help people. And you have all the tools to do it. You're going to do a podcast every week. You're going to do a live broadcast, and you're going to get it out there. And I really felt that was where my purpose was. And so I didn't know how to do a podcast. I didn't know all of these things, but I just said, okay, it wasn't like it was even a question. Okay, I'm going to do it. And so it's
Awesome.
coming up to a year now, and I'm just thrilled to bits on how many people that it's helping, how many people that it's, changing their lives to be the better people in their life. Because when we pass away or when something tragic happens, we need to know that we have the support. And there's nothing better than having those people around us that are able to do that because you've actually left information. I have clients on my podcast that are digging through, drawers and closets. And, Paulette, if I asked you where your paperwork is, where would you say it is?
It's in a folder just like this in my drawer.
Okay.
I do have some things organized.
There you go.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Just recently, I've been working on a new program which ties with your backup plan, and it's called the Emerging Blueprint Program.
Oh, what's that?
And so that helps you figure out, why do I have to do this? And it has a library of videos of like 20, 30-minute videos, 15-minute videos that you can just click on and find out, pull out your life insurance policy. Let's look through it. What is it that you have? Understand what it is that you do have. Find a place that's convenient. So if you had a wildfire come in a 5-minute evacuation, are you able to pick up your files? Are you able to pick up your important documents in one swoop? Most people say no. In 5-minute evacuations, I've been through it myself, and it really boils down to, what is it do you need to take really quickly? And it's not the paperwork, believe me, people. That's not what's going through your head.
Yeah.
What's going through your head is a jacket, your emergency kit, possibly, or some drinks, your blankets, and just quick grab photos, possibly.
Your pet, your wallet.
Yeah, and that's about it. Like, you don't have time to dig deep and figure anything out at that point.
And it's something that I've thought about on and off. I've been through some earthquakes and things and never been evacuated. But I know people who have, and it's like, okay, I really have to get this together. And I think about it, and then I forget about it.
Right.
Because until it really happens to you, you don't give it priority.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's why I put the Emerging Blueprint together.
Awesome.
To explain every section, explain why is it, why do I need a power of attorney? And I have interviews in there with different people that might, you might be able to connect with and understand because they say it in different ways. I have things like getting your emergency kit together,
Yeah.
where your shutoff valves are. Um, if I,
Yeah, I don't know.
right? No,
Right.
nobody really knows, but we
Yeah.
should know because it's all about emergency preparedness. And in the 5-minute evacuation, even part of the app tells you to take photos of your rooms
Hmm.
so that you can say, okay, for insurance purposes, possibly because the insurance companies are going to want pictures.
Hmm.
And also to remember, even if you had a break-in, what did I have in that room? And no one can remember, like you remember years later, oh yeah, I had that.
I guess on some level, or me, for instance, I think about those things, like I said, and I've never actually followed through. And then there's the side of me that's like super positive thinker, it's never going to happen. It's all good. I mean, I imagine you hear that a lot.
Yes. And I hate to tell you the answer to that because we are all given storms we need to manage in life. And it could be one storm or it could be a multitude of storms. But even losing your wallet is a storm
Mm-hmm.
because you have your whole life in your wallet. And if you can't remember, we do this in workshops all the time. I'll tell you, put your wallet on the counter, take a piece of paper and a pen, write down what's in your wallet without looking. And I've never seen anyone that's been able to write down everything in their wallet.
I bet you I could.
There's no reward cards and library cards
Sure. Yeah.
and they all have your identity on them. So they're all very important. Even, the keys for hotels. How
Mm.
many people just give them back? They really need to be cleared of any information that's been on those cards or cut them up.
Yeah.
Because everything has information that identity thefts love to get a hold of. So going back to where I went through, I just went right into marketing and getting it out there to help people. And it's transforming because the Emerging Blueprint, I've been struggling in getting it launched just because it's just so full of information.
Mm-hmm.
And you can do all of it, or you could do there's 12 modules in it. You can do one of them. You could do the first module, which I always say, when you get it, do the first module because it's setting you up to get organized. Figure out where is that paperwork, put it all together in one place. And I help you design that part of it. Then you take it from there and you can do any other module after that. Now, the 12th module is the exciting, fun module for all of us creative people, because I felt that I wanted to add in what people can do to leave a legacy. You don't need to leave a legacy for money. You can leave a legacy for anything. And that could mean, that favorite shirt that your brother wore and it still has his smell on it. And there's nothing more comforting than finding something that has that person's smell on it and holding it tight like a teddy bear. Because, and you could leave recipes, you could, whatever you're really good at, you might write stories, you might have a blog that you would like someone to continue. You might have a podcast, Paulette, but maybe you want someone else to take it over if
Mm-hmm.
something happened to you. And so all of these things you can start looking at, thinking of your own life. What is it that you want it to look like? Maybe you write poetry, maybe
Yeah.
you play music, maybe you play
And,
an instrument.
and that's I do all of that actually, and it's so great to think about while you're still here.
Yes.
You're right. It can be exciting. It doesn't have to be frightening or fearful or, you know, depressing. It's just like,
No.
who am I? What are my values? What am I doing with my life? What do I have to share? Right?
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's very cool.
We all have something. We
Oh,
all,
absolutely. We all
maybe
do.
we have great recipes that we cook regularly for people that absolutely love them, but there's nothing written down. I mean, how many, there's lots of people like that.
Yeah.
Or there's crochet or sewing or a hobby of doing old cars. I'll tell you another story. I have a client who collects fire trucks. Isn't
Like
that
little ones or big ones?
big ones?
Big ones.
Real normal fire trucks.
Okay. Love it.
So in that instant, if something happened to him, what would his wife do? What would she do first? The question is, do you go on Craigslist and start selling them? How do you know how much they're worth? How
Hmm.
do you know who to ask? How do you know how much the parts are? Anytime we have any other personal collections, jewelry, art, furniture, fire trucks, anytime we have something like that, we need to put a plan in place so that his wife can then contact Joe Smith at whatever place to ensure that
The
um,
Addams Family. That was great.
they need to ensure that they're going to talk to the right person and they're not going to be taken down the road to
Sure.
sell it cheap.
Yeah.
So, or maybe they want to keep something of the collection, or maybe they want to keep all of it, or maybe they want to pass it down to the next gen, whatever that looks like. What is the plan? Because when something happens, no one's ready for that decision or those choices. It's too late. It's like I've had numerous clients call me and say, I'm lying beside my mom. She's not doing very well, and I can't get out of her where her bank accounts are. Well, it's too late
Hmm.
because they don't think they're going to die.
Yeah.
They don't think, it's too late to ask. You have to ask these questions. And in the emerging blueprint, there are worksheets that you can print off and you can have a family conversation. You can have that family conversation with your partner. You can have the family conversation with your sister or brothers, aunts, uncles, friends, whoever is dear to you. You
Hmm.
can have
Hmm.
that family conversation of what is it do they want.
Yeah. Well, blessings to you for for organizing that whole thing. And so, okay, so now you have a podcast and you also have a book. Is that right?
Yes, I wrote just after my car accident, I wrote In the Blink of an Eye.
Mm.
And so that's it's a short story in a group of books of inspirational women's stories.
Cool.
And it's like taking the thought process, because everybody, your life can change in the blink of an eye.
Hmm.
When you just take things for granted, they're not so much for granted anymore. So at this time, it's a lot to review all of this stuff, but I break it down and make it really, really simple. And it's literally, when you use the app, you just take your phone and go to the doctor's office and you type in, I'm going to Dr. Small and I have a cough and it's Tuesday, August 15th. And then you come out of the doctor's office, you take a picture of your prescription, and now you're starting to log your own medical history.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was another area where I found people don't know what it is that they have. They don't remember when their surgery was. Was it 5 years ago or 8? I can't
True,
remember.
true, true.
Did I take that prescription? I didn't like that one, did I? I can't remember. So
Sure.
yeah, so
Wow. So just organizing everything about your life, but keeping it simple
mhm,
because it
absolutely.
can be so daunting sometimes, right?
Well, that, and I created the Blueprint program because people don't know why. Well, if I said to anybody, ask 10 people, if something happened to you tomorrow, what kind of paperwork do you need to have? And the first things they'd say is a will, possibly a power of attorney, possibly a living will. But other than that, people don't know what else they need. And so I made it really simple in the program to go through the next module, understand your insurance policy, understand your home insurance policies, understand your life insurance, your disabilities, what
Mm-hmm.
is you have at work. Don't wait till you get sick at work and then figure out, well, geez, what am I going to do now?
Mm-hmm. Right.
I only get $500 a month when I thought I got 1,500.
And so, okay, so you you've been only working on this for a year?
A year marketing it, yes.
Oh, okay. I would
I,
say, wow, I don't even know how you could get all that together in a year.
I left it 6 years ago, and it was
Okay,
a
awesome. Awesome.
binder
And what
for.
about your podcast?
So the podcasts are so much fun because
Aren't they? I love them.
I talk to people all over the world. We discussed a shooting where a young guy got shot delivering food delivery to a lady. He was mistakenly taken for a thug, and he was only delivering food. I've talked to Theo Fleury, for any hockey fans out there, who he talked about. He played for the New York Rangers, the Boston Bruins, Calgary Flames. He talked about his life having coaches that um, raped him
Mm,
when he was younger. And so he had a lot of traumas in his life, his addictions, and he talks about that. We talk to cancer patients, cancer survivors, a lung transplant survivor, an amputee. So many inspirational stories, unbelievable, of people's lives changing from something that's occurred, either um, gotten healthier or gotten out there to help other people in the same predicament.
mm, mhm.
Amazing motorcycle accident. I'm interviewing, this is a surprise. I'm interviewing the end of this week, Humboldt Broncos bus survivor. For anybody who follows hockey, the hockey team 3 years ago, the anniversary was it was just in April actually, where the bus was hit by a semi truck, and 16 of the team's players were killed.
Mm.
13 were survivors, and I'll be interviewing one of the survivors this week. So I get so many fun and interesting guests with so many tips and tricks of, how to get through tragedies, how to get
Sure.
through traumas. Yeah, they're
Fascinating.
fast.
Fascinating. Oh, such good work that you're doing, and just bringing awareness to people of possibilities and how to move forward with ease instead of confusion, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So good. Oh, wow. Well, again, blessings to you for doing that. So you guys out there in Heart and Hustle Land, what are you thinking about all this? It's giving you some inspiration to take care of your stuff, yourself and your stuff, and everybody else, right? Because we're all in this together.
Yes, it
Yeah.
affects all of us, even, somebody from your sister or brother or something. It affects you too.
Yeah. So, oh, well, Tina, it's been really fun talking with you.
Well, thank you
Thanks
so
for
much.
taking the time to come and share some of your story and what you're doing and the good that you're changing in the world.
Thank you. Thank you, listeners. Thank you so very
Yeah.
much.
And I'll put Tina's contact info all down, down below in the blog, and contact her with any questions and signups and whatever. And thank you, my friends, for being here again for another episode of Heart and Hustle, Visionary Healers, Movers, and Shakers, where we are listening to, inspiring each other, connecting with each other, making beautiful magic and change in the world. Until we meet again, many blessings.